Y'all, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Chicken is pretty gross. So, what the fuck? I personally haven't been a big fan of chicken. I'm not a big fan of this fucking computer sometimes either. But, the computer has a lot more personality to it than the chicken does. I'm just saying. Oh my goodness. I am tired. I just apologize. You're gonna hear a lot of yawning and stuff like that. And it's not intentional. It's just because the monk is sleepy. And I have just been so overworked with work lately. But I've got a lot of good news. Things are kind of like dying down a little bit. I'm not as busy as I once was with things. Things are kind of starting to like balance out. I'm starting to kind of like get a grip on things and starting to have some consistency. So I'm going to hopefully be being able to finally make more videos for you guys. I have not been able to do as much as I'd like. Like as I said, things are finally kind of starting to get balanced out. I still have some stuff left with this college I have left to do, but like after I get all this college stuff done, I'm gonna try to like be able to prioritize making more videos. I've had like a bunch of videos I have like started working on. I just haven't been able to like get the time to like final draft them and record them, and I miss a lot of information. So it's just like, I'm almost there. Like, I'm almost there to just finally have like consistency, but I fucking work every day. And I'm just, every time I get home after work, I'm like, I don't want to sit and make or work on a video because I'm tired. That's just how it is when it comes to work. But if you guys have any questions, you guys are free to ask. I'm trying to think of what I might want to talk about. Like, kind of think of some topics. You guys are free to ask any questions. I hope everyone's been having a good day, honestly. Mine's been a pretty good day. I've just hung out with some of my neighbors and stuff. Nothing, too, like, grand or adventurous. Just been existing. Gosh, Anubis got a little upset with me a while back ago. I don't want to say we got really upset. I just, like, have not had the time to, like, really sit down and offer him anything. Because, again, I've just been so freaking busy with college, dude. Like, this is, like, the worst part that I think I have had to deal with when it comes to, like, getting ready for everything. It's just, like, you just don't have time to do anything. But I do want to say that some people should kind of understand that just because you can't work with your God, like, all the time and stuff, like, just because you cannot, like, always tend to your God, that doesn't mean that God's, like, upset with you, or, like, they hate you. Oh, no. You didn't work with me for today? No. you're fired. Get out. I don't know, can a god even fire you? I mean, I guess I could refuse to work with you, but... I don't know, I've just been thinking, exactly how do gods even operate? Just haven't been able, I'm just kind of asking that question. How do they do what they do? Like, I don't know, it's like a big exponential question I've been kind of asking. To what extent do gods exist? And could we ever be on the same level as a god? But what really is a god? What is the philosophical definement that we have for a god? You know, how does one define what a god is? Should probably be a more better question. That old exponential saying, you know, what is a god to a non-believer? Yeah, I believe in the gods, but I don't know, just such a weird question to ponder on. Ugh. Oh. I don't know, you guys just want to give me your inputs if you ever can. I kind of want to hear that. Maybe when more people show up, I'll ask. I'm kind of curious what other people might say about the gods. Can gods be created? Are they all just hallucinations? Atheists would say yes. I think other grounds too say yes. Goodness, I am so freaking. I'm not even tired. I don't know why. I literally do not know why I'm yawning so much. I am not tired. I just risk a rain. We're not at the point where it gets interesting. Not like Ninja Turtles. It's not like Ninja Turtles when all. Do it 4 times now. Look at me, I'm so special. No one's special, not in the eyes of gods. Well, maybe there are some people who are special. But how do we define what makes somebody special? Everyone's special in some... Damn it, I know I'm going to college for philosophy, but I think I'm asking too many philosophical questions I don't have answers for yet. Listen here, you ugly bird. You and your mom are ugly. Yeah, that's right. Oh my goodness. I want to just say right now that, if people have been, kind of upset with the fact that I haven't been posting a lot lately, I'm sorry. I genuinely want to post more, I just never can fucking find the time to post. It's Friday, isn't it? No wonder there's nobody on. Everyone's out partying and doing fun shit. Unlike me. It's just which isn't too bad. I didn't even mean to be an hour, a half an hour over. I just got getting so fucking busy and talk about this shit. I mean, in reality, I was looking kind of just like laying in my bed trying to like dry off for like a half an hour because I had to go take a shower. Which I don't even know why I took a shower because I'm not done with I'm not done with the day. Still have like all my workouts I gotta go and do. Shoot, guys, I shoot these things. What is this? Oh my words. The Nile is a river in Egypt. Honey, your husband is gay. Y'all, the sunsets here have been so pretty lately. My goddess Isis, I swear. I always appreciate those sunsets more. I really do hope that everyone's taking care of themselves, though. What is up, Possuma? How hath thy been? Hey, I'm sorry for starting half an hour late. I just really lost track of time. Cursed be to those like me who fuck everything up with scheduling. They're busy. They always get busy with random shit. Playing something new, I see. Yeah, normally I play Mutant Ninja Turtles when I talk on this, but it's just like really hard to balance Ninja Turtles and the chat. So I'm like, well, I'll play something that like can require the like least amount of focus possible, so I can like, you know, look at the chat more and like actually talk with you guys and answer questions that you might have. In the beginning, even though there was nobody, I was originally just talking about philosophy and like exponential questions, like, you know, to what extent do gods exist? How do we know what they exist to? You know, those questions. Being very skeptical of some claims made by early, you know, religious people. There's just so many things I wonder. But you know, guess this is not the Q&A with the philosopher. Q&A with the philosopher. This is the Q&A for religion. What do you think about my info on dreams I sent you? You made. I try not to like sound like I'm trying to like discredit you. You said a lot of things that I like had already known, But at the same time, I think it's because we've both kind of like studied this a bit. Now, I want to say that like I think what I really did agree on is that like not everything is actually from the gods, but everything in your dream has some kind of meaning to it. Even if that meaning isn't necessarily like the meaning that people kind of want. Like sometimes when you have a dream about something. For instance, I've been having a lot of dreams about like being stuck in really bad weather, but each time in the dream, sometimes it's really bad and I'm scared, or other times it's like I feel like everything is under control. And sometimes just depending on what you see in your dream can kind of like tell you about like what is kind of going on in your life at that moment and how you feel about specific things. But I've had to kind of like sometimes in my dreams I have to like take a step back and ask myself, you know, is this something out of the ordinary given the context of something that's happening right now? Like, is it Anubis, or is it actually just me? Am I just, you know, having a problem that's not actually a problem? I mean, I've been thinking a lot about dreams, really. That's been, like, I don't know, that conversation about dreams just, like, caused me to, like, question a lot of things about how, you know, dreams operate and how we as people operate into the extent of those dreams. Some studies of psychology, I guess you could say. Been around for a while. You know, you're not wrong. A lot of that, you know, has been around. People have kind of studied this for gods know only how long. Oh, I fell off the map. Oh no, ouch. People, it's always weird how we interpret things. I was talking with my therapist the other day because I have a bit of religious trauma from Christianity, and I was talking to him about, you know, how I was really mad at how, you know, Christians have, you know, done a lot of bad things, and how they've killed so many people. They've killed so many people, and then say that, you know, well, we should persecute all of these non-Christians out because they're evil. Like, I hear that a lot from like Christians. They'll keep saying things like, you know, you can't, or you're a different religion. Oh no. So I said, you know, I brought this up to him, and he says that, you know, a lot of times when it comes to some of this religious stuff, people are just basically, they're having nothing happen to them and then using religion as an excuse for something. So it's like effectively what people are doing is like constantly applying the God of the gaps kind of explanation to things. Why did my boyfriend break up with me? Well, I saw a witch yesterday. That must be the reason. It's not because I'm a controlling, manipulative, you know, garbage girlfriend. So, and ever since he kind of told me that, I've been like a lot more skeptical about dreams and signs, because sometimes it's true that, you know, we do kind of apply more significant meaning, or try to apply something like, why did I get a sign? Well, it must be from my God. For some reason, I'm a passive-aggressive a-hole. As for most of the people I don't even know. Most of the people who don't even know their own book, yeah, ain't that the fucking truth? I argue with Christians all the fucking time on their religion, and the amount of like lack of knowledge that they will have on things. It's like sometimes you can clearly tell that they are just like going on Google and looking up an answer. They're like going on Google and looking up like, ooh, what's it say about where in the Bible does it talk about this? Because they don't know. And then like whenever you start like debating with them, well, they don't have a debate. They don't know what they're debating on. because they're just looking up the answers and then trying to like ignore the context of things. And it's so prevalent. But I've noticed that when you made the comment about being a passive-aggressive a-hole in dreams, I've had trouble interpreting if seeing yourself in dreams is the mind either interpreting your I don't know, I've had trouble understanding because it's like I don't know if it's the mind interpreting yourself like this. Like in a dream you might see yourself as a piece of shit. Well, is it because you are a piece of shit and you're acting on true intention? Or is it because this is how you are effectively seeing yourself? Do you view yourself as a piece of shit? I used to view myself as somebody who was very, I want to say, very sadistic. In my dreams, I would always be doing very sadistic stuff like hurting things. And I could never understand why I was always doing this in dreams, especially when I had control. And for a while, I'm like, well, you know, maybe this is just my true nature. But no, it was because I viewed myself as a sadistic monster. So my dreams interpreted, you know, myself as that. And some people might apply God of the Gaps here and be like, oh, well, why would I do that? It must be a divine being. But no, to me, it's like I knew, you know, what I was doing. I knew, now I know, at the time I probably didn't. I used to actually think, because this is back when I was like a Christian and stuff, but I used to think that the reason I was so like evil in my dreams is because it was Jesus telling me why I couldn't own chickens. Because like every time I owned chickens, I was like very, very mean towards them. I always regretted it. So like I love chickens, but I was always mean towards my chickens. But my chickens were always mean towards me. I don't like that. Also, we're getting some viewers in here. I'm glad to see you all here out here tonight. If you guys have any questions, you know, do feel free to ask. Like, you know, don't hesitate. Like, we're talking about dreams now, but if you got questions about Anubis or life after death or, you know, what happens when we die, I can answer all of those, or at least I can answer them in my own interpretation. I can't ever really provide you with an answer that might feel right to you. But I will say that sometimes you just have to know when it's you who's saying these things versus when it's, you know, just, you have to know when you are the one saying these things and not interpret it. Gosh, this just leads into so many questions I'm trying to think of good answers for, because like a big question I particularly have is, you know, well, when is it a god? How do we know the difference between a god saying something and ourselves saying something, or us interpreting something to kind of fit an idea? This is what I get from Bibles. This is what I get from the Bible. God kicked humanity out of Eden, but wants you to come back to him, even after kicking you out. Yeah, pretty much. I think, again, another big issue I have is that some people who, like, kind of interpret things like that don't study the historical context of essentially the Bible. Like, a lot of the New Testament was a different interpretation of the Judea belief system. And that's why we have so many, like, contradicting things. And half the time it has to like rewrite its own story to fit what it believes, you know. Well, the Messiah was supposed to bring about world peace. Well, actually, it's world peace. It's not world peace. It's supposed to unite the kingdoms in heaven, not world peace. Even if so, the fact that Christianity came into existence and was nothing but a problem ever since it first like came into the picture due to just like multiple like, just a shit ton of issues that were happening. Like, due to what happened when the religious text was, like, actually considered to be the correct thing, then it kind of goes, just studying the effect Christianity had on the world should be proof alone that it's not a true religion. I think so many people forget that Jesus didn't just say love one another. I'm really sad. I'm really sad. I'm kicking you out. No, come back. I don't mean to come off as, like, hateful towards Christianity, but I don't know. I just think too much. I really don't think a lot of religion is what the world needs anymore. Because Egypt was really bad in the terms of, like, the problems with, like, too many religious people. Like, I don't know if I ever want to even talk about the fact that, like, they altered their, like, own religion and their own stories just to fit the idea of what the newer kingdoms believed. This is why we literally see gods like Anubis and Seth completely, like, change in their narratives and stories, because the people who were, like, rewriting the religion were effectively just trying to change, or they were effectively trying to alter the story. Oh, sorry. Yeah, kicked you out of the Eden, but wants you to come back to him even after kicking you out. I know, talk about circular reasoning. Or talk about, like, being a contradiction. I'm kicking you out because I don't like you. I'm kicking you out, but I want you to come back. But now I'm going to give you an unrealistic expectations. What I just want to know is why the fuck why I don't understand why he even made the idea of, if he was the creator and he made the idea of child sacrifice, that means, like, by all definitions he, like, banished his own people. Like, the Jewish people back then, they all get, like, banished to hell, even though they, like, there were good Jews. You had people like Job, but oh no, Jesus didn't die and everybody sins, therefore they all just burn in hell now. No, I don't like that. But I think it's really important for us to understand that the only really good thing that I think Christianity, or the only thing I would say Christianity got right, is to understand that when it comes to working with a god, it is about relationship. Working with that god, you can tell a lot about a god based on two things. You can tell a lot about a god based on the people who work with that god, and you can tell a lot about the god based on your relationship with the god. But sometimes you have to ask questions like, when is it people who are, changing these kinds of things? When is it people who are, altering stuff with these gods to fit it? It's always, like, rolls into, like, accountability, because it's like, it kind of falls into this, like, the no true Scotsman fallacy at some point, because it's like, well, what if we have, like, a person who works with Anubis, and this person who works with Anubis is, like, really, really, really hateful, or is, like, really, 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 like, toxic, and... Oh, I think here's a great example. God has to test your free will by doing everything he says, or you'll burn in hell forever because he's love. I kind of laugh at that, because let's actually consider for a second. This God made a bunch of rules. The first one, thou shalt not kill. I don't think that's actually the first of the 10 Commandments. But one of the biggest rules of the 10 Commandments is thou shalt not kill. What did he do in Noah's Ark? What did he let Satan do with Job's family? I'm sorry, but, like, a dictator, because he loves... A dictator, even a dictator cannot if a dictator disobeys his own rules, then he is not a very good leader. Because what gives me the incentive to listen to what that dictator says if he's not even capable of following the rules that he puts in place? That's just my issue with it. But what I was gonna say is the biggest like good example of like problems, particularly with the problem, particularly with the no true Scotsman fallacy is. Oh, by Horus? Please do tell, because I've actually had some encounters with Horus recently, and I've been like, I've just been a lot more interested in Horus. I feel like he's trying to tell me something, and I'm just really stupid. I would say stupid. He's very... Tell me about your experience. I do, like, genuinely want to know. Hold up. Might take a second to type. Okay, while you type, I'm gonna keep telling my story. Not even story, just keep talking about the issue with no true Scotsman fallacy. Because I can't really say it because YouTube might, like, ban me, but there's this, like, group of neo-pagans that are the N-words in A. Yeah, the NAs, and they're Odinists, and they've done a lot to kind of shut up about this, but there is literally a church, I laugh, there's literally a church, I think somewhere in Tennessee, that worships Thor, Loki, and Odin, but they have no room for LGBTQ. They do not want any people of color. They're a complete, like, they're Yahtzees. Like, that's actually what they are. And I just, like, I don't know what to fucking say here, because now it's like the no true Scotsman fallacy has to apply here. And it's applying everywhere with them, because, you know, a lot of these people are like, no, this is not the case. They can't be Odinists. That mindset, and I think a lot of people are ignoring a tad bit of the history of the Vikings. Yeah, guys, Vikings were cool, but guys, they were still like Vikings. They did things bad. They did bad things. So, I mean, if you guys want to tell me your guys' thoughts on that Odinism situation, please let me know. Because I'd like to hear other people's thoughts on it, but it's very, like, important to understand that there are people in even paganism who are looking to cause harm to people. And I don't know, like, I don't really know. I don't know, like, because again, now it's like, it's literally no different than, like, Christians rejecting other Christians because what they did isn't Christianity, but we haven't talked to these people yet. We don't know what their belief system is based off of. I don't know, this is just, it's a very rough situation. I was walking back from Winco. I bought 2 12-packs of soda, and the thought of Horus kept popping in my head. Then I got scared walking. Is that a cat? Yeah, that's a cat. That's a cat. And then I got scared walking across the street because I been hit twice by a car. Then this happened. What happened? You're not done typing at that, okay. I'll wait for the rest of the story. But I don't mind playing Risk of Rain while having serious conversations. But yeah, I don't know, like, because there's like the issue with Odinism is it's like, well, now we're effectively just playing the no true Scotsman fallacy that we have criticized the hell out of Christians for playing, because now it applies to us. Like, what do we do in this situation? And I'm thinking, well, just like we do with Christians, we have to hold the religious belief system accountable. But a lot of people, I think, especially Norse pagans, don't seem to understand that there's two different, like, Norse pagan. I think there's three. There's Old Norse, Mid Norse, and New Norse. And it's like, there's different time periods in the belief system that's vastly different each time. I told Horus a few things, then he took possession in my body, spirit by spirit from my body. I felt like ah crap, I lost my place. I felt like my spirit was on a cross and he stretched my body out. With the sodas I felt better, but I saw Horus in my body. Hey, remember that the, it's not really a cross, but it's kind of like an anka. So it's a sign of protection. That's kind of what the point of that position was. He was effectively showing you, with the way you were carrying everything, that, you know, he was watching over you and protecting you. I have a very similar experience with Anubis. Anubis, doesn't do it like that, but you just always feel like a very, like, warm feeling. You know, he's very close by and he's watching you. Yeah, I'm talking with you, Anubis. And when I got home, I went to his altar and saw his statue moving all over. Moving an altar, though, that's something interesting. I've had Anubis do that like once or twice. Have you had any experiences or general interactions with Sekhmet or Sakhet? Oh my gosh, me and Sekhmet, dude. Oh, I did work, Sekhmet reached out to me in the very beginning. Normally, if Anubis doesn't reach out to you, it's Sekhmet, or if Sekhmet doesn't reach out to you, it's Anubis. There's like, they're kind of just like the two, like, more well-known gods, never really, you know, known why. There's like different theories on it, particularly. I'm not sure which theory of it is correct, but I was just really insecure at the time, and I like rejected Sekhmet, and she kind of got mad, and she kind of just like really did not like want to talk or work with me much after that. But she came back around, and I like kind of apologized. But from my experiences, like my slight experiences, so if you're like, there's only so much I can answer because I don't work very heavily with Sekhmet. Which I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to maybe like trying to get in contact with her to help you in some way, but I'm kind of against doing that because sometimes gods just kind of speak with you in indirect ways. I have like a video on it if you want to check out my YouTube channel. I think you're probably already subscribed, but if you check out my YouTube channel, my most recent video, I discuss, you know, how to know a god's reaching out or communicating with you, and I kind of brought up at that point in the video that, hey, gods don't always reach out to you in the same way. But from my experiences with Sekhmet, she's a good goddess, from what I hear from other people, but she's a bit of a petty goddess, and I don't mean that in like a derogatory way. She's just very easy to anger on accident. But don't think that she'll ever just, like, up and abandon you. You know, never think that of any god. But well, that's from my experiences. She, again, like I said, she has reached out, but, like, they always reach out, she reaches out in the ways of, like, cats, really. So people have had both experiences. Sekhmet's always the feline and the feminine, and then Anubis is a lot more, like, masculine. So with Sekhmet, you likely feel, or Sekhmet's always going to be cats, and Anubis will always be like a dog or a wolf. If you have any more questions, like, feel free. If you have any experiences, you know, don't feel like you can't tell me, because I'm always down to listen. Always down to kind of enjoy hearing how other people ran into their gods and when. Sorry. I was, excuse me, finishing off my soda. Remember when I told you I pray to a cartoon creator from a game? I pray to a cartoon creator from a game. Well, it could be a god or goddess taking on that prayer. Gods have many faces and many forms. Oh, gods, yeah, that's true. If you look throughout the mythologies, people define the gods differently each time, and I always wondered, to some extent, how. Like, why do they... I always wondered that the biggest question I've had is, we define gods differently almost by each different generation. You know, going back to the original topic, which was ancient Egypt, you know, there was like multiple different versions of the Egyptian mythology, all of which said something else different. We had Anubis once being associated with death, to Osiris being the one that was associated with death in the underworld. The mythology, it changed so much throughout the time period. It made me ask the question of, like, you know, what really is the gods and what's just us in altering the text. Understandable. I have to watch your videos. I've been getting used to the Egyptian pantheon. I've always been drawn to it in general, but I'm just now discovering Sekhmet. I've been avoiding my practice at the time due to mental health distress. The Osiris myth is really mixed up in mythology from everything I've heard. It's true, because the Osiris myth is like just a simple question of what the fuck are you? Because the mythology always says something different about Osiris. I don't know. It's very clear he was originally a god of agriculture, and that made so much sense given who Osiris was. And then for some fucking reason, he's changed to a god of the underworld, and I couldn't understand that. It's like, why? Stay chill and keep this monk company. Thank you for keeping me company. What else did I say? Speaking of mental health distress, gosh, you don't know how much you saying that you're avoiding practices due to mental health distress, how much that, like, that just makes me go, bro, I felt that. Because I have, like, really, really, really bad mental health. And like, well, I would say my mental health is caused by trauma and years of it not properly getting addressed. So, you know, much like a storm, it spirals out of control if it has no way of getting itself under control. which Seth taught me that one. But what was I gonna say? But I just felt that like evading practices like that so much. And I'm not even gonna sit here and say like, actually, you need to be doing your practices. You need to be doing your practices. You need to be doing your practices, because really I've noticed that the gods may not like heavily work with you at that point. Because, like, Isis is like that. Like, I work with Isis, and if I, like, neglect her for too long, she will literally just, like, stop showing up. But Isis is, like, a goddess that you're not... I don't think you're supposed to work with, like, too much. She's kind of like a goddess that's, like, she'll come around when she comes around, and that's it. But, you know, I get how you feel on that, and don't feel like you ever should be obligated to work with practice. I think both Sekhmet and Anubis are pretty much the same in that regards, is that, like, they're not, like, very... Anubis and Sekhmet are not needy gods. They have never, like, been needy. Sekhmet's petty, but I wouldn't say she's needy. I'm currently seeing a therapist. A lot of it is it's making time to feel the pain you've never been able to express in a battle for struggling for a better future. Bro, I get you a lot. Because I've been having to deal with that with my therapist too. Like, I have to... It's all about, I want to improve myself, I want to get better, but... sometimes it's like what's preventing me from getting better is the fact that I'm not necessarily, like, America, my country, is not in a very stable position where I can even feel safe to exist in it. A borderline a genocide and a possible fascism outbreak, it's too much. But sometimes we're supposed to be using those that fear strive for a better kind of future. Or maybe just a way to kill whatever the fuck this thing is. Holy shit. Ouch. Like, I get like everything on where you're coming from, because I get the feeling and the fear and the pain and all of that. It's such a difficult thing to have to go through. But it won't stop me from bettering myself, even if I'm miserable. Well, I hate to say this, but you can't better yourself if you're miserable. But, maybe I should word it differently. If you're miserable, you can't better yourself. But if you're trying to better yourself because you're miserable, there's a difference. Like, if it's gonna make you miserable to have to remember all the pain that you went through, but you know it's gonna make you stronger, and that's one thing. Deity work taught me a lot about understanding myself, and therapy teaches myself and teaches me boundaries and how some things are not out of your hands. Misery is part of the process of accepting pain, and that is very true. See, that's like, it goes, there's like an old quote from the Lost Gospel of Thomas that I always remembered, and that quote was, that quote was they said to find the kingdom of the Father, which if we look at it in some different perspectives, the kingdom of the Father is effectively just a term for, excuse me, the true divine universe, whatever that may be. But to find the kingdom of the Father is to look inward and outward. And I always stand by that quote because, you know, you have to really understand yourself, why you are who you are, how you are who you are, and what has impacted you to make you the way that you are. It is that exponential thing that you need to always look inward and ask you gotta look both inward and outward. You have to ask yourself a question. That question is, why am I me? Why do I do this? And therapy helped me do that because I have if you guys will never see me do this, but when I play League of Legends, oh my gosh, I used to be a fucking monster when I would play a competitive video game. I kid you not, I've told so many people to go kill themselves when I play video games. It was terrible. And now after asking myself, why do I like this? Why do I, act like this with video games? I came to an answer. It's because of the multitudes of different things. I just kind of always looked at video games I never looked at other people as people. I just always... it's just, I don't know how to put it. A lot of it I realized was because of I used to always get bullied by my uncle, so I just was always very prone to just getting angry. Every time I'd lose, I'd be insulted by my uncle, or I'd be insulted by a family member, and it made it me much more competitive when I got older. And because of that, I just never really moved on from it. But after, figuring out why I was the way that I was able to kind of actually start enjoying, playing video games that might have competitive aspects to them. And, realizing that the people I was getting mad at, most of them aren't real, because I was always angry at the video game character, never the people I would be angry at the people themselves. So it is, I'm not trying to go on too much. It's hard for me to even remember some of this stuff. I think a part of me shut it out because, I didn't want to remember why I was like that. There's the defense mechanisms of the body. But, I resonate with being treated less than I wish I was not getting shot at. I resonate with being treated less than. It creates spite. I can admit I'm very spiteful myself. Now I just make it entertaining instead of toxic. I want to just say, when it comes, I want to just say that I used to do the same thing. And it may have just not worked for me, and it might work for you. And I'm not trying to come off as, I'm actually really part of what I think is correct, because it's clear that only I know what is superior. But, I used to try to do that, and try to, turn my spiteful nature into a more comedic thing, and then I find that I actually wasn't joking. I was just saying it in a joking manner so that maybe people would think that I was joking, but I meant a lot of what I was saying, and that was a problem. And again, that might just be me. Sometimes nowadays I'll turn some of my toxic behavior into just a joke with everybody. I'll slam the desk and say, I hate insert this character that I don't like because reasons that are probably terrible. See, it's just always about... See, so much of it I think was literally just in my head. I just think like a lot of what I had, it was just like, it was in my head. I was inside of my own head more than these other people were, because these are just other people who feel emotions the same way that I feel, who are toxic because of their own reasons for being toxic. When you start putting people on the same level as you, sometimes the way they come to different conclusions makes more sense. Ouch. Or maybe you just get hit with a pile of dirt and die. You know, there's that option too, because that happens. I totally respect your perspective. What may work for one may not work for another. I generally find things amusing after a certain point of gaming. At a certain point in gaming. Yeah, I learned to, like, when it came to my gaming, my gaming rage, it was like exactly that. I was just kind of, you know, I just never was enjoying the game. I think the game just became, like, part of my life at that point. And because it was, like, part of my life, it was just... like, you don't feel like you're winning, so you get toxic when you don't win. And you don't feel like you're winning at anything. It's like almost like a point where you just want to be noticed by somebody. That's why a lot of toxic people play fighting games. Because, you know, when you're playing a fighting game, your whole point is that you want to win. You want to beat that other person. And I think that's kind of the case, is, you know, when things are actually out of your control and you can't win like you thought you were going to win, you just get frustrated. But sometimes it's not about getting frustrated or getting mad, it's just about enjoying what you're doing. Just enjoy what you're playing when you're playing it, and not have to keep getting upset over, you know, how it may go. Like, I don't know, my issue is that people, I think it's a perspective of how you're playing a game. You're playing a game, you want to play to win, right? Everybody wants to play to win. Which is how games work. You know, you don't play a video game to lose. You either play to win or you play to learn. In some games that require, you know, intelligence, you're gonna have to play to learn. Like League of Legends. When you play to win, you start to, it's like a very carnal instinct, human nature thing. When you can't win, when you can't get what you want, you either accept that you're not going to get what you want here, or you try to do everything you can to get what you want. You'll argue with people. You're like, fuck you, dude. Stupid, useless piece of shit. That's all you are. And sometimes I think in your mind, when people say stuff like that, and not by, when I say in your mind, I'm not meaning like you, whoever's listening to this. I'm saying like in the human psyche mind, it's like insulting somebody and putting them down almost is supposed to prove you right. Because it proves you right, and it makes you feel better about yourself. Because it proves you right, and it makes you feel better about yourself, it like kind of gives you that little pickup. You know, like, oh, I'm right, this guy is a worthless, useless, degenerate scumbag who plays fucking Yasuo, in League of Legends terms, but in anything, I'll say it in like this stupid scumbag who plays fucking insert character that's super fucking easy to win with because he's a degenerate loser. And it's like you put them on such a lower scale, it's like it just makes you feel right, because it's like they're not winning because they learned a character or they liked a character, they're just winning because they're a degenerate, and shitty people always win. And this mindset that we have as a society, where we just put other people down, just say that the enemy team sucks burnt chicken nuggets and deserves to step on a Lego. See, and I would absolutely agree. Just like make it a joke. Like I used to tell people when I played League of Legends, there was just like one really annoying character. I still kind of play League, but there's just like one really annoying character that like everyone fucking hates because of how like long her stun was. And I said, you know what? I hope you get hit by it in IRL. I hope you get stuck in one place for like 20 years, just to like make a joke about it. But what I was saying is that like people like genuinely mean those jokes in the most serious way possible, because it's like basically their way of justifying why they're not, you know, winning. It's like just their human carnal nature. Your mom didn't give you a candy. Why? Because your mom is just a cranky old bat who doesn't have your best interest and doesn't understand how eating that chocolate is actually the most superior strategic strategy ever. But you know, your mom just, what is your mom know? She doesn't know anything about you. How we process things is very important to understanding, and to being able to understand why we feel the way that we might feel about something. And I didn't realize it until much later on, but this is actually like a big teaching of Buddhism. It's like, I don't know, it's just so interesting. Sometimes you just can't win, but if you're playing it... Oh, I've met some really toxic people in games, and I'm just like, dang, someone didn't get a hug today. Probably hangry too, bro. The amount of, like, sometimes you can just tell when someone's hangry, because, like, you're just, like, a different way that they'll react or interact with you when they're, like, really hangry. I normally just, like, rationalize it. Like, sometimes I'll laugh, because, like, sometimes someone, like, I hate to laugh, because, like, I'm sorry, I've been there. I know exactly where they're coming from. But, like, I'll deadass just be like, wow, that person's really not having a fun time this game. And sometimes, like, that person's, like, willing to kind of, like, be friends or just, like, make a joke. That's one thing, but, like, sometimes they'll make, like, a joke and they'll be like, no, honestly, I genuinely hope that you literally rot and die. It's like, damn. You really don't like me. Sorry I played this one character, my bad. I should have known better. You guys are right, I'm stupid. I'm stinky. I just, you know, I don't deserve... I'm sorry, I'm a degenerate scumbag. I played Soraka mid, my bad. Sorry, I'm a degenerate scumbag. I played super spammy ninja, or super spammy hot ninja lady. Man, how could I do that? It's just how, you know, competitive games work. But, you know, I think I might actually start shifting my content. And no, I'm not saying, like, shifting my content drastically. Like, I still want to do religious stuff, but I'm going to school for philosophy, and I'm thinking I might, like, actually start shifting some of my content towards, like, towards some philosophy opinion, or philosophy and stuff like that, but still kind of keeping with, like, the religion. There's, like, a lot of content I want to do. I just need to, like, keep putting forth time, because I'm just not going to have the time in the future to do it unless I can get more stuff with my school. Time to go in the forever box for hot ninja lady. Always the hot ninja lady, too. It's always the hot ninja lady. Even though I'm gay, for me it would probably be like it'd probably be the really annoying grappler. Or the himbo grappler guys, I swear, sometimes archetypes just write themselves. Just reminds me to stay kind, especially towards teammates. Dude, every time I fucking play a competitive video game, I don't know what's worse, the enemy team or my team. I remember there was this one time, again, this is like League of Legends stuff, so I know some of you guys are not very familiar with it, and I'm only gonna like talk, I'm gonna try to like explain and talk more loosely about it. But there is this character that was mostly a support character, but I played her mid because her original, or her different lane, the mid lane specifically, you go up against like much more different kinds of characters, because she was originally designed to be in that specific position. So I played her with Seraphine, and I played Seraphine mid, and I get like told death threats by my teammates that are like, why would you do this? This is clearly the most insuperior way to play this champion, you crusty, dusty, stinky little twerp. Like, sometimes you just genuinely deal with people like that, and it is not fun. Just like getting hit with this giant fucking beam of fire is not fun. Bro, competitive teams are feral. I know. Oh, I'm getting blasted everywhere. I'd say you can do a mix of both, religion and philosophy. Maybe sprinkle in some life experiences in between. Low twerp. Some crusty, stinky twerp. I have been called a twerp before, but I've never fucking like heard that. And yeah, I probably will like just mix philosophy and religion and philosophy almost go hand in hand. But you don't need to be religious to have philosophy. Where sometimes I wonder if to have philosophy you need to be religious. Competitive teams are, dude, I seriously, like, I don't know, I've played like a lot of games with toxic teammates, and I don't know, I still think Call of Duty is probably the worst. Call of Duty or fucking Overwatch. I have never, some of like I'm positive that some of the literal worst people on the planet play Overwatch. Because there's some pretty awful people I've met on that. I don't know how some people can be the way that they are and play Overwatch, because it's like, damn, y'all really out here acting like this in IRL? You kissed your mom with that mouth? Probably not. I don't think you have one. Not with the way you fucking talking. Probably left your ass. Gosh, no. But like at the same time, you can't like really hate. You can't really hate. You can't really hate some of these people because you kind of have to understand why they're so angry about these kinds of things. When you can start understanding, if you can start relating to someone on an emotional level, you'll understand a lot more about them. And maybe, just maybe, no guarantee, they'll learn something about you too. Ouch. If I get hit one more time, it's gonna be over for whatever hits me. If I don't get some cake soon, I might die. If I don't get some cake soon, I might die. You guys think I can make it to this rock? Oh, I did it. No, there's no texture. It's just texture. See, I really enjoyed old Overwatch, but I put up with Overwatch 2 for nostalgia reasons. I have learned a lot. I have learned a lot, though, being around different gaming spheres. You know, honestly, these older generations are so shit because they will genuinely knock, gaming out of like the whole fucking quarter. Like, they'll just say, all video games are bad, go die. Go die in a hole. You're evil, you're playing Pokemon, you're worshipping the devil, because, let's repeat the satanic panic of the 1980s. But they'll say stuff like that. And they really just forget how much video games can, like, actually bring people together in the same way. Like, genuinely look at Pokemon. Like, if you want a good example of how gaming has brought people together, there's this YouTuber, Caden Absol, dude, this guy is such a prime example for how Pokemon can bring people together. Like, he has traveled all around the world, gone to so many gaming cons, and met people and hung out with like people from all around the world that he met through Pokemon. And I swear, these older generations are so close-minded in just their ways and their belief systems that they are effectively preventing communities from forming. Like, it's more amazing that the internet exists because now how communities can exist. It's not like the days in the 90s or the 80s when like we didn't have the ability to do stuff like this or to communicate with all of these people in the world. And now we have the ability to do these things. And we're almost like they're just trying to take it back to the good old days because they don't understand it, and I still to this day cannot understand why people want to go back to those days when they were not as good as the current era we're living in. It's not good for them because they're not part of it because they didn't want to be a part of it. Just another many things that boomers have ruined because they're stupid. LMAO, yep, like, bro, you guys grew up in the age of gaming. You're just mad that you had to go outside and play with sticks and no sunscreen. Dude, like, fucking for real, like, dude, like, the 80s, like, the early 80s and the rise of gaming was such an impactful moment for, like, the world because of how much community it brought people together with. Like, fucking, I don't know how many people in here were, like, ever a part of this, but, like, y'all don't probably remember going to fucking arcades, playing fucking, Final Fight 2, or, no, Final Fight 2 is released on SNES, playing Final Fight 1 and just losing, or fucking playing the stupid Simpsons game, or one of those, like, old, shitty beat-em-ups that were impossible to play, but you're playing with, like, 4 fucking players, and you're all, like, working your hardest to beat the game. And then, like, you know, it was a fucking accomplishment when y'all 4 managed to beat the game together. It was like you're working on a team with people, and you're doing well. You know, it brought so many people together. It's why I just love, like, I hold so much nostalgia for a time period that I never really lived in. I was the early 2000s. You know, it was still basically, like, arcades were still a thing, but this was, like, the rise of basically, like, the digital series. When, like, games were turning into, like, digital shit, effectively, and we were dealing with, like, you know, the newer, you know, shit that was coming out. Pokemon is a series of games, a series of many generations. I'm thankful for the internet. It is, it's a series, funnily enough, every fucking Pokemon game takes place in, like, a new region, all of which are inspired by, you know, some part of the world. And even then, you know, people who can relate to those cultures are brought together because of that. See, it's such a thing to be appreciative of that exists in the world because of, you know, the fact that it exists and that people were able to be brought together. And unfortunately, the only problem with the internet is that it may have been, it was for better or for worse, really. Because when it came down to the internet, it's a better or for worse. Toxic people exist no matter where you go. But, like, with the internet, the number one thing I think I kind of... The one thing I kind of was up in the air about when it came to some aspects of the internet are, you know, gaming... Shit. Sometimes people prioritize online friends more, and anyone can be anyone online, just like they can be in IRL. And just as much as I've met some pretty cool people on the internet, I've met some pretty fucking terrible people, too. Also, I'll read your comment. I have to go to the bathroom. Be right back. Ow! still with me. But the monk is back. Oh, Possumer came back. Oh my, you were gone for quite a bit. Aw, Angel Star left. That makes me really sad. Angelhead was nice to talk to. I'm sad I won't be able to see them. I probably won't ever talk to them again, but I guess it's just the curse of being a wanderer. Also, what's up, Possumer? I'm glad to see that you are back from your smoke break. Your smoke break from hell. The smoke break that never ends. Just an infinite smoke break. What's up? Sorry for smoking. Did Monk just go AFK when Angel Star is still in chat? I hope so. It makes me sad they left. I can't scroll back up. I was wanting to read what the rest of that they said. Aren't understanding that we aren't too different from one another is a double-edged sword currently due to toxic people. You're Gucci. I think I'm gonna dip. Thanks for doing what you do. I hope you keep pursuing this. You seem like a very level-headed and kind individual. Don't ever stop growing. I'm gonna try to not stop growing. I just hope. I just kind of goes to this older saying, which is you don't have to change. The world can change its heart, but without you have to help. Unfortunately, we have to help the world change its heart. The world won't do it. Just like a baby won't. A baby won't develop a personality if it has nothing to influence that personality. You are an enemy to the people and to God. Deploy the nuke. Chair. But yeah, we were on like a lot of philosophical conversations that we were having. It was very interesting, and I said that I was thinking about possibly shifting my content to not just religion but philosophy as well, since I am literally going to practice to be a philosopher. The only problem is that there's no money in philosophy. If a guy with red hair beats you when you're young, you might not like people with red hair when you're older. See, and this is, okay, hold on. What I'm about to say here, I just want to clarify real quick. I'm not trying to justify racism, but this is something that is like studied in psychology. People who sometimes, not all, but some people who are racist actually do have trauma with specific people of color. Not all the time, because trauma affects the mind differently. My grandma, when she went to a mixed race school, and she was bullied by black people a lot. Technically, some of that's just because of the the time period, and unfortunately, African Americans did not grow up in well communities, but so they oftentimes were a lot more, aggressive, just due to not growing up in neighborhoods that they could, were treated with kindness. They were always treated with hostility. Gosh, it was such a fucking double-edged sword. The African Americans deserve so much better than what the fuck they got at the hands of tyrannical government. But it is studied that some people who are, turn out racist will say that they had like a real bad experience with, a black person. And same thing's for homophobia. Some people who are homophobic who had the traumatic experience with a pastor. I'm actually speaking at a friend who was molested by a pastor, and he really struggled, with dealing with homosexuals because of a kind of a fear. My grandma was bullied by a lot of black people in her neighborhood, and she kind of grew up with a bit of a dislike towards black people. But I want to say that where human evolution has started to come into play is that we are starting to realize our traumas better, and are starting to understand that, well, it's not gay people, it's this one individual. it's not, you know, even some people will grow to hate religions due to religious trauma. That is just how the human psyche works. And it's important to understand that, because that's how we can kind of understand, you know, where like this kind of stuff happens in. And unfortunately, you know, not really unfortunately, but like if you're gonna be racist, well, I'm not gonna let you be racist. I'm gonna tell you you're fucking wrong. You wanna tell me, oh, I had a bad experience with a black person, I'm gonna tell you the same shit. And I don't care if you had a bad experience with a black person. Not all of them are the same. They're not. And to think that they are is a pretty ignorant thing to say. You should really do philosophy with religion, spiritually, and phenomenal stories well. Mix up your content when you have time. Maybe do a podcast. Since I am going to college for philosophy, I might definitely mix up philosophy with some things. If I could, I'd love to do more, like, more philosophy podcasts. Get more people on. I have to think about it. I want to do like a podcast once a week, but I hate to say it, I just like alone time though. And like that's kind of like what keeps fucking me over for doing any podcasts, is that I just like always would just much rather sit at home and plan anything when it's like really holding me back, but I don't want to I just want to relax and be at home. But there's some trauma with that too. I'll have to find a way to address. But I'm definitely thinking about, you know, switching up my stuff and, you know, trying to mix in philosophy. Like I said before, philosophy and religion really go hand in hand. Just like not dying goes hand in hand with not dying. Get the hell away from me. I think it's dead. I may have paranormal experiences. I know there's invisible stuff everywhere. Be careful with that mindset. As somebody who suffers with psychosis, this idea that there's always something out there, I just can't see it, is like a bit of a warning sign of it. I understand where you're coming from though, because I also, like, that's what I believe too. There's a lot more that we can't see. We just have yet to understand it. But, what was I gonna say? We just have yet to understand it, but be careful when it comes to interpreting things. Because sometimes you have to, just like dreams, you have to understand, you know, how you may come to this conclusion. From my experience, when it's a sign, you know it's a sign, because it will grab your attention instantly. And you may not know why it grabbed your attention, it just did. But you don't go interpreting every single thing that you see as a sign. You know, oh no, you see a sparrow? Well, you know what sparrows are associated with? Death. This must mean you're gonna die. I used to have that fucking problem so badly. Or if you hear a whippoorwill, that doesn't mean, oh my gosh, it's the harbinger of death, you're gonna die. Like, it's really important to, like, make sure you're not interpreting everything as a sign, because, like, me and my neighbor both have psychosis, and we have to, like, consider, like, what's going on. And, well, she's told me how she had to cope with her psychosis. But yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna shift it to that. Even with like reading, I just can't sit down and read. I just don't ever want to do anything. So now I'll talk to my therapist. You guys aren't my therapist, sorry. Also, I don't know if I want to go into like my making fun of modern paganism rants today. But I was gonna say that like religion has been a bit of a problem in society. I need to. I need to do so much more, and yet I'm just gonna sit at home and I'm gonna eat chocolate cake. I do martial arts and everything, and like I fucking kid you not, I've been slacking so hard in my training, and I shouldn't be. Yet here I am. I will say that I have been studying a lot of Buddhism lately. And Buddhism has been just like, it's been fucking like phenomenon to study, because there's so many different belief systems in Buddhism, just like Christianity, and a lot of them don't have like a concrete belief system. They all have got like a different interpretation of things, and I just can't help but find that beautiful. Kemetic Buddhism has actually been a pretty common one. I find that there's a lot of people who are in Kemetic orthodoxy and study Buddhism, because Kemeticism is really about like trying to be one with the universe and understand it and the way that the world works, and Buddhism is all about understanding yourself. They really go like big hand in hand with each other. You know, we had 12 views this live stream, and I'm kind of happy about that. Because it's like, this is like a pretty high turnout. Pretty high, because most people don't come that much. But yeah, you know, it's all about, oh, there's just a lot. And I think that it's, I've been asking a lot of exponential questions, like, you know, how do the gods work? You know, science hasn't proven the existence of gods yet. But maybe if we study it, we study some of these experiences, maybe we can come to some understanding. I sometimes wonder if atheism itself, realistically, atheism itself really only came into existence because of Christianity. That really wasn't a common practice in the early days, but granted, science wasn't as big and important in the early days of, you know, humanity and stuff. But I have to wonder, would people still be atheists if Christianity never came around? So many questions, really. You know the law of one? What's that? I know the no true God fallacy. And Pascal's wager. I will say that some overly religious people cannot handle being told no to God fallacy. They just like don't understand it. I think scientists know about these beings' existence. They just don't admit it. It's unfortunately it goes into a God of the Gap situation because the God of the Gap situation is, if something exists, if there's something that exists that we can't explain, the Christian, like the religious defaultation is, well, it must be God. And
I do think these gods exist. We don't know what extent they exist to. We don't know how they exist. Unfortunately, if we can prove that multiple gods exist, then we know that monotheism is not the correct way to go about it. I really think that if there is a correct religion or a correct belief system, it would be pantheistic, not monotheistic. Because to me, monotheism just does not make any sense logically. Given if any being is knowledgeable, smart, or intelligent, it could very easily understand why monotheism is a very bad thing for societies. Because when we look at how monotheism affected people, that itself can kind of prove the point. Law is one. Law of one is we are all God. I do have a personal belief or interpretation. I believe this being that I met years ago, may its existence be proven false or not. But I do believe I met what I would say is the true God, or I wouldn't call this being a God, I would just call it the creator. But I remember, it was such a weird experience because the thing it doesn't care about any of us, because to me it is our universe. However, it's our universe. However, it's like, at the same time, it's like it doesn't care about us. But why would it? Why would it care about us? It created everything. We're just mere one of its creations. We don't have a single fucking reason to give two shits about us, even viewing it logically. Law of one is we are all in God, and there is only one true conscious, and we are his collective conscious. I believe that everything exists, including other gods, exist inside of this one being. I believe that it has an avatar of sorts. Not that I'm its avatar. I don't want to imply some delusion like that, but I believe that it has an avatar that if it ever did, it would try to communicate with us through what I believe to be its avatar. But again, I'm always going to be wrong. But that theory itself sounds a lot more plausible than other, kinds of claims. Concentrating. Cannot fucking kill this thing. Holy shit. There's just a lot of questions that I end up having to ask after I start thinking on things too much. It's actually not even with pagans, it's not an unpopular theory. There is possibly multiple gods, there's one god that is the actual creator, and everything exists inside of this thing. Oh, I'm dead. Oh, I was revived. Yes. amongst pagans, it's been a pretty popular belief. That's kind of why I'm like, what are your thoughts? So let me ask you, do you think that the law of one is true? I wouldn't say there's one true God, but I wouldn't even say God in that sense. Do you meditate? I am sometimes. I'm not real big on meditation. It's mostly just because am I dead again? What the fuck? Oh, died again. What died? Oh, I had 2 dealers, best friends. Oh no, it was channeling. It was channeled by Ra according to the Chambers of Ra, Law of One. That actually doesn't sound too out of character for some things. I mean, the Egyptians did believe that there was like one. They believe that it's very pantheistic, but that Ra was the one god that created everything. And then he created everyone else, kind of in some aspect, and that kind of fits with some belief systems, because it's kind of like, I mean, think about it a bit, why wouldn't he create multiple gods? Because all of those different gods managed to, effectively get to people. I think monotheism's biggest criticism is that not everyone effectively communicates to. Even Christians would say that everyone's relationship with this God is different. To assume that everyone's going to have the same relationship with this God effectively causes more of a confusion than it does of an answer. Because no person, to assume that people can just all, oh yes, this one God is the only God that I resign with. It just physically does not happen with people. People have never all resigned with one religion or one practice, and monotheism does not keep an account for human nature. That's why it's a terrible ideology, because if a true God does exist, let's look at it through the lens of a God. Why would you make a monotheistic religion? Because not everyone is going to be able to communicate or be able to resign with you in one form. You'd have to appeal to them in different forms. But not everyone's belief system is going to resign within one religion. Some people value other things over other things, and Christianity poses this idea that we're supposed to value loving one another, but I'm sorry, I'm not trying to say that I should only love myself, but in the mindset that I should love a person who abused me, I'm not going to do that. I don't care what Jesus said. So, I don't know. I've never been able to fully agree with even just monotheism as a whole. What is Arab? What is that? What is Agorians? What are Agorians? Like, I'm down. I have no idea what the Agorians are, so I'm totally down to listen. Agorians is an occult concept representing non-physical entities. Non-occult representing non-physical entities that arise from collective thoughts and distinct groups of people. See, that's interesting. That is interesting. Because I kind of do feel like that might be something very similar to how some of the divine nature works. But I don't know. It's a very interesting concept. If did we create? Did the gods create us, or did we create them? So many gods represent how people viewed specific times. That's why we have things like Anubis being associated with the jackal. You know, it's people like create these gods, or external, exponential. Frame rate is dropping so. In more recent times, the concept has referred to me being a blind bat. The concept has referred to physical manifestations or thought forms. Oh my gosh, it's the wood monsters. Or thought. Common motivation words. Shit. Being made up of or influencing the thoughts. See, that's the thing. I can't help it. Like, I can't help but say that that sounds pretty logical. Of how gods might operate on. My interpretation is always that gods operate in a sense that is gods operate in a way that they know that will understand what they're trying to communicate with. Gods all operate on like different spectrums. No god communicates the same. They can't. Like, physically, a god cannot. Like, they all will not communicate in the same way that other gods have communicated in. Like, they're just that, like, not everybody's gonna understand, like, a god if they're all communicating in similar patterns. So a lot of, like, this game has just gotten harder. Like, I can't. As somebody who works with multiple gods, they all use different signs, and they all communicate in different ways. But to me, it makes more sense in that perspective. You should look into Anagor under beliefs of the Kemetic. Holy shit. I definitely will look into it. Might have to ask you later if you can like email me with that they're coming because I probably will not remember. There's so many beliefs that formed, I just can't. All the belief systems that exist. It really just makes you wonder. I'm very omnistic in the mindsets that there is no, like, one truth. There's just many different truths that people have held throughout the years. Oh, there's just many different truths to religion. There's not, like, just one truth specifically. There just can't be. Sorry if I'm like really focusing. For some fucking reason, the game got super serious. I gotta go to get ready for bed. Later. Let's end the stream off with a nice finale. Bye, Possumer. I think Nerf Engineer or something. He's so clumsy and shit to play. Seriously, what the fuck? There we go, I need more. I'm just stacking all this. I'll end this stream off on a good note. Yeah, I feel so bad for not talking so much this stream because I've just been super fucking tired. Just, ugh. I think I've just been too relaxed. I've just got like a lot I'm thinking about and a lot going on. Oh, I'm dead. Anyways, it was very nice to have a stream with you guys. Normally I would do a tarot reading, but I am really just not feeling like a reading tonight. But with all that being said, I hope you guys have a lovely night.